don't know, there's something really visceral about this place. As soon as I stepped off the ferry when I first came here, I was like, I'm home.
Here on Mull we have quite a healthy population of white-tailed eagles, somewhere in the region of 21, 22 pairs. So golden eagle-wise there's about 26, 27 pairs.
Mull's promoted quite widely as a wildlife-rich island, so that attracts a lot of tourists who are really interested in seeing particular species.
It's nice to see new faces, of course. You know, you sat here all winter staring at the same 10 faces in the pub. It can get very depressing. So to see people from all over the world coming and enjoying, you know, this beautiful island is actually quite nice to see. Obviously brings in a lot of money. We have a lot of cruise ships coming in. We spend money in the hospitality places and things like that.
I can understand why people want to visit here. People will come from all over the world. We meet them every day, and the island does depend on visitors for its economy. Lots of people's jobs and livelihoods depend on it. So we can't complain about the fact that people still want to be here, but I think there's a balance that we need to find. I think the people can accommodate, but it's the animals and the rest of the natural world where we've got to find the right balance, I think.
We wouldn't survive without the wildlife. It'd be nicer to be able to pay back a bit to wildlife rather than keep taking, which is what we seem to do, really.
I'm Vaughan. I've been in Mull for about 3 or 4 years now. I actually work on Toby Bay tours. We do little hour-long trips around the harbour. We used to come on holiday to Mull many times, so I've been on the other side of the tourism divide, I suppose, and it was just such a beautiful place that it'd be a daft move not to move up here when I got the opportunity, of course.
My name's Alex. We've been running Mull charters now for going on 16, 17 years. Our main thing that we're known for is working with the white-tailed eagles, and they come down and pick up fish from near the boat, just like they would have done with fishing boats back in the day.
I don't ever get a diminished sense of what it's like to be in this environment. It's truly immersive. And that's why we swim as well. Swimming is literally immersive, and it's part of our experience of being here. It's wonderful. I'm Susan Ringwood, and I live on Mull, and I've been here full-time for 5 years now, but was a regular visitor for 42 years before that. One of the real issues that we've got on the island is the accommodation for people needing to live here and to be able to bring up their families here, when 15% of our housing stock is for holiday rentals, and that can make it really hard for people to stay here, buy a house here, bring up their family here, and they end up moving away when they don't want to.
I've got a different perspective on it coming up with someone that works here. I wanted to come up to follow my passion in nature. I kind of see what the appeal and the grandeur of being here is.
As far as wildlife destinations go, in the UK, Mull is pretty high up there. You've got a coastline teeming with wildlife, from waders to otters and big cetaceans out We're starting to see the odd humpback appearing around here, which is nice. And of course, basking sharks and minke whales, dolphins, right up through your avian predators, right the way up to golden eagles and white-tailed eagles.
I mean, tourism obviously is the lifeblood of the economy here. It's about 85% of the total economy of Mull, so we heavily rely on it, especially in the summer.
Over the last 15 or so years, the island's definitely gotten busier in terms of wildlife tourism. The difference really is that the shoulder seasons are getting longer, so rather than starting in May, you're now starting at the beginning of April, sometimes in March, and running until end of October. Of course, anytime you have an increase in footfall without a massive change in infrastructure, there are going to be issues. The road networks are sort of struggling to cope a bit.
Tourists certainly do impact on our life here. I mean, mostly driving on the roads. If people were able to reverse their cars into passing places, that would really help. And when locals living here, when it gets to October and we've had the rally and then it calms down, everything, all right, okay, it's just us now. And we do cherish those months when we have fewer visitors, I think, because it just makes getting around the place a bit easier.
Parking in lay-bys is probably one of the worst issues that we get. Yeah, oh, I've seen an otter, and they get the glasses up, you know, and yet a car comes along or a lorry comes along, and where do they go? During COVID, I was allowed to be out and about, and, you know, everything just seemed far more chilled. The wildlife weren't taken for cover as soon as they saw a car. It was really nice. You know, you have to just be respectful of the people that are living here all the time and trying to work.
My name's Emily. I'm a countryside ranger here on Mull. I work in a partnership role for Mull and Iona Community Trust, and I also work for the National Trust for Scotland, who look after Iona and smaller islands of Staffa and the Treshnish Isles, and also Berg, which is behind us over here. It can get tricky managing disturbance sometimes if people are really keen to get their particular moment with an otter or whatever. Unfortunately, on social media, people promote the same areas for folk to go and look, and particular otter territories could get, you know, overloaded with people. Or on Iona we have corn creeks, and that can have the same issues really. So we're trying to spread people out, you know, enjoy all the wildlife and not just the hot spots, and manage the disturbance a bit that way.
One of the concerns that people have had from visitors coming here is that they want to get too close or not understand how their behaviours can impact on the wild animals. And I think particularly the otters, they can't just fly away like the eagles can. And a bit of a phrase, otter botherer, has come up. You know, some people come all this way with all the camo gear on and the huge lenses, and then you see them crawling through the seaweed trying to get as close as they can. And people can see their natural behaviours being disrupted by that kind of intrusion.
There is this sort of competition thing about trying to get the best shot so you can put it on Facebook, which is, yeah, it's not always in the interest of the otter. It's almost like what's the fashion on social media, really.
As a ranger service, we try and encourage people to enjoy the holistic experience, I guess. So we've got amazing landscapes, we've got all sorts of small, interesting things that you might overlook if you're just rushing off to see, you know, otters and eagles. So we try and, you know, encourage people to slow down a bit and focus on the whole experience and whatever might cross their path.
Money comes in from wildlife because people are booking wildlife trips and whatever. There's not a lot goes back out to help protect the wildlife.
I think there's more work to be done on helping people understand how to behave in a bit of a wilder environment. So that's part of our role as rangers as well, is to help people. It's all about balance really, isn't it?
We love people to share the wildlife here and get the same enjoyment that we do. My heart sings every time I see an otter as well. I don't want to deny people that joy, but it is making sure that it doesn't negatively impact on the animals and the habitat as well.